In a stunning revelation that could forever change the narrative surrounding Donald Trump and his presidency, new bombshell information has surfaced about secret communications between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. These clandestine conversations reportedly continued long after Trump left the White House, adding another twist to the already convoluted relationship between the former president and Russia. The shocking details come from an explosive new book by award-winning journalist Bob Woodward, who, through interviews with former Trump staffers, uncovers an alarming series of exchanges between Trump and Putin. As if that wasn't enough, the book also exposes how, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, while Americans were struggling to access vital resources like COVID tests, Trump was secretly sending U.S. test kits to Putin. These revelations are part of a larger narrative of Trump's complicated and often baffling interactions with Russia. With the facts laid bare, this story demands to be told in full. An in-depth look into Trump's secret conversations with Putin, the implications for America, and what it means for the future of U.S.-Russia relations. The bombshell book, Bob Woodward's Revelations. In his latest work, Bob Woodward, renowned for his investigative journalism dating back to the Watergate scandal, exposes a series of shocking admissions from Trump's inner circle. According to the book, Trump and Putin maintained regular contact after Trump left office in 2021. Multiple Trump aides confirmed that as many as 7 phone calls took place between Trump and Putin during this period, a startling revelation given the tense geopolitical landscape at the time. These phone calls are significant not only because of their frequency, but also because of the context in which they occurred. The U.S. had been reeling from the effects of Trump's controversial policies, his impeachment trials, and most notably, the January 6th Capitol riot. Trump's post-presidency continued to be plagued by investigations and lawsuits, yet here he was, allegedly maintaining a secret line of communication with the Russian president. What was discussed during these calls remains a matter of speculation, but the implications are enormous. With Trump no longer in office, these conversations raise critical questions about national security, foreign influence, and whether Trump was undermining the new administration's efforts to reset relations with Russia. As Ian Sams, a staffer for Vice President Kamala Harris, pointed out after reviewing Woodward's book, the sheer number of post-presidential communications between Trump and Putin is unprecedented and deeply concerning. COVID tests sent to Russia? One of the most explosive claims in Woodward's book is that during the early days of the pandemic, while the American public was facing a dire shortage of COVID tests, Trump allegedly sent U.S. test kits to Russia. This revelation is especially troubling considering that during this period, Americans were desperate for these tests, with states scrambling to secure enough resources to handle the burgeoning crisis. Trump's decision to send COVID tests to Russia raises serious ethical and legal questions. Why was a country like Russia, which was not an ally, prioritized over the American people in a time of crisis? Was this yet another instance of Trump placing his personal or political interests over the well-being of the nation? And more importantly, how was this kept secret for so long? Trump's public admissions of contact with Putin. For years, Trump has denied any wrongdoing in his dealings with Russia, famously calling the investigations into his ties with the Kremlin a Russia hoax. However, his public comments have often contradicted these denials. In fact, Trump has openly admitted to speaking with Putin on multiple occasions after leaving office. During an appearance on the Mark Levin Show, Trump discussed the Russia hoax, claiming that he and Putin could have had a much better relationship if not for the interference of American politicians like Adam Schiff and Hillary Clinton. Trump stated, "I told Putin it's a shame. We could have done a lot of business together. But with this whole fake thing going on, this comment is critical as it underscores Trump's belief that the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election was fabricated, further cementing his defensive posture toward Putin. Additionally, Trump made similar remarks during speeches at CPAC, Conservative Political Action Conference, where he boasted about his frequent communication with Putin, stating, "I talk to Putin a lot. I get along with him well." This open admission flies in the face of Trump's repeated assertions that his dealings with Russia were above board and only in the best interest of the United States. Russian propaganda and reposts. Trump's fascination with Russian propaganda is another aspect of his relationship with Putin that continues to raise eyebrows. Even after leaving office, Trump has been caught reposting Russian propaganda, often praising Putin or echoing pro-Russian sentiments. For example, in late 2023, Trump reposted a video from Vladimir Putin criticizing the U.S., a move that many saw as further evidence of his affinity for the Russian leader. While Trump's defenders might argue that these reposts were harmless or taken out of context, the fact remains that Trump consistently amplified Russian narratives, often to the detriment of U.S. interests. In one of his most recent public statements, Trump went so far as to congratulate Putin on a successful prisoner exchange, despite widespread condemnation of Russia's handling of the situation. This willingness to celebrate Putin's actions, even when they conflict with American values or interests, further complicates Trump's legacy on foreign policy. The disturbing praise for Russian strength. Trump's admiration for Russian military prowess is yet another perplexing aspect of his relationship with Putin. During a speech in Savannah, Georgia, Trump praised Russia's historical victories over figures like Adolf Hitler and Napoleon Bonaparte, stating, "That's what they do. They win wars." This statement was met with both bewilderment and criticism, as many questioned why a former U.S. president would laud Russia's wartime victories while downplaying its current aggression. In the same speech, Trump suggested that Russia's military dominance was something to be respected, not condemned. This narrative starkly contrasts with the approach of many Western leaders, who have focused on condemning Russia for its invasion of Ukraine and other acts of aggression. Trump's rhetoric, which often paints Russia as a misunderstood power rather than a threat, further fuels speculation about his true motives and allegiances. Trump's weakness on display. Harris weighs in. In an interview with Howard Stern, Vice President Kamala Harris weighed in on the ongoing saga of Trump's relationship with Russia, stating that the 2024 election would be about strength versus weakness. Harris characterized Trump as weak, pointing to his inability to stand up for American values in the face of foreign adversaries like Putin. Harris's assessment of Trump as a weak leader is a sentiment shared by many in the political sphere, particularly in light of Trump's deferential behavior toward Putin. Whether it was his failure to confront Putin about election interference or his praise of Russia's military achievements, Trump's actions have often appeared to prioritize appeasing Putin rather than defending U.S. interests. Lev Parnas. The Trump-Ukraine connection. Lev Parnas, a Ukrainian-American businessman and one-time associate of Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, recently provided further insight into Trump's foreign policy blunders. In a new documentary, Parnas recounts how Trump, with little understanding of foreign policy, relied on Parnas for advice about Ukraine. In one particularly troubling instance, Trump asked Parnas to help remove a U.S. ambassador to Ukraine simply because she was a holdover from the Obama administration. This incident not only highlights Trump's reckless decision-making, but also reinforces the perception that he was easily manipulated by those around him. Parnas's revelations further complicate the narrative of Trump's foreign policy successes, casting doubt on his ability to navigate complex geopolitical issues. The revelations about Donald Trump's secret communications with Vladimir Putin paint a troubling picture of a former president who consistently put his own interests above those of the American people. From sending COVID tests to Russia during a national crisis to openly admitting his ongoing conversations with Putin, Trump's actions raise serious concerns about his judgment, loyalty, and commitment to U.S. national security. As we approach the next election, it's essential for the American public to be fully informed about these revelations and the implications they carry. Trump's behavior, both in and out of office, has often defied the norms of presidential conduct, and his relationship with Russia is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. The American people deserve leaders who will put their interests first, not those of foreign adversaries. With the facts laid bare, the question now is, what will America do with this information? Will voters continue to support a man who has shown a consistent pattern of questionable behavior, or will they demand accountability and integrity from their leaders? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. Donald Trump's secret conversations with Vladimir Putin have been exposed, and the world is watching.